they'll work 80 hours for themselves and not have to work 40 hours for somebody else.
Yeah.
I've worked 10 times harder working for myself, but I've enjoyed what I'm doing. And if I fail, it's on me.
If you've listened to nothing else that I've said, this should be the one thing you pay attention to.
Talking to as many business owners as I've talked to, 97, and I don't mean 96, I don't mean 98, 97% of business owners do not know how to run a business. Number one key ingredient of somebody who's self-employed, they'll work 80 hours for themselves and not have to work 40 hours for somebody else.
Yeah, I learned that but it's funny, like it's people say that in a negative context, right? Like when you say that out loud, I think any normal person would hear that in a negative, because I guess it is, right? That sounds bad. But the reality of it is that like the positive side that I think is kind of, if you had to read between the lines, is that because it's so much more rewarding, I would rather work 80 hours for myself, even for the same amount of money, than work half the amount of hours for someone else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's so much more rewarding.
Absolutely.
That's the part.
So whenever I ask somebody what made you want to work for yourself, that's usually the answer, even if they don't know it.
Yeah.
They're like, well, I didn't want to work for somebody else, and so then I really like this thing. I'm like, no, back up. It's because you didn't want to work for somebody else. For me, that's the case.
Yeah.
Like I've worked 10 times harder working for myself, but I've enjoyed what I'm doing. And if I fail, it's on me, right? It's not on somebody else, and then I don't have to listen to somebody else's bullshit and them run the company in a way that I wouldn't run it. So I like to live and die on my own sword, and I think you're probably like that. That you want to do it on your own.
Funny story, man. I was just a kid, I was 23 years old. I didn't know what the hell I just literally got married. It was my first marriage, and just gotten married. And I looked at my wife, and I was like, my wife at the time, and I said, hey, you know what? I got a crazy idea. I want to start this business. Cigars is it's like a passion of mine. So how about there's no cigar shop in this neighborhood, in this area that we live in? It's an upscale part of the suburbs of Denver. There's no cigar shop in the area. There's a need for it. There's a hole. Why don't we fill it? Why don't we start something? And I built a kiosk, literally of all things. It was a kiosk, and it was a big one, but it was a kiosk in a mall. And she thought I was crazy. I literally took the only money I had at the time was I had $5,000 in like a bond that someone gave me as a gift for my bar mitzvah when I was 13.
So $5,000 in cigars and whatever your kiosk was, that's all you had?
And one credit card, I think, which I maxed out. Yeah. It's a weird story, but I've told the story so many times it's almost kind of entertaining because when I started the cigar bar, we had issues with smoke. The smoke was seeping out and getting into some of the neighboring spaces. And so, long story short, I had to mitigate that issue. I had to try to cure that problem. And in the process, met who became my best friend. He's a guy who became my best friend, and he was an HVAC expert. And he helped. And he came up with some really good creative solutions to help mitigate the smoke issue. And many years later, he ended up asking me, he's like, hey, do you want to start an HVAC company with me? And I was like, sure, let's do it. He's like, I'll be the wrench turner. I'll do all the blue collar stuff. You be the white collar guy. You do all the marketing and the sales and build up that department. And I was like, all right, man, but I don't know shit about HVAC. I barely even know how to turn up my thermostat. That's like all I know about HVAC. I've never built a home services company. I'm sure I can figure it out, but I've never done it. And sure shit, I figured it out. I met all the right people, got the right coaches, took the right courses, pushed the right buttons and pulled the right levers.
How excited about doing that were you?
I wasn't.
You weren't?
No, I wasn't until I saw that it was work, until I saw how cool the business was. It took me maybe 6 months to kind of wrap my mind around like how the business was really operating and how it could be made profitable. And once I saw all those profit potential, all the potential areas for profit.
So once the reward center, when the reward center got turned on, then you got excited.
So my agents reside anywhere in the country of Mexico. We actually have agents in other countries too, in Latin America, but the vast majority are in Mexico, and they're all over. So they work from home. Everyone works from home. That's the beauty, of call center work nowadays, is that it's not like the old school days where you had some sweatshop and everyone worked in a dark, dingy basement. Like that's not.
So when you say call centers, it could be 50 different people in 50 different homes working.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
All right. Yeah. Cool. All right.
Yeah. Someone's just got to manage them, right? Someone has to put all those pieces together.
So you contact a roofing company. You pitch them on, hey, do you have any outbound dialing in your company? Would you like to see some results of that? I'm Peter. This is what I do. And then what you do is you have people in Mexico that obviously have to speak good English, right?
Yep.
And you get them set up out of their house.
Yep.
And you manage them probably through what? CRM?
Well, both. So
Calendly.
we've got them set up through software, right? Everyone's on the same software platform, so we can monitor that at all times. And then we've got just a really impressive team of managers. The team of managers I've got right now is nothing short of really, really impressive. So these are some really high level people who manage the entire operation. Basically, it's essentially a Robo-Dialer. It's referred to as an ROSNG, a random or sequential number generator. And it's exactly like that name implies. It's literally a piece of software that generates whatever your area code is. Mine's 303 in Denver. It says, "Hey, pick this area code 303. Go make up a bunch of 7-digit phone numbers that we think are probably accurate, and just start calling like a maniac." Mm-hmm. And that's what they do during political cycles.
Well, yeah,
right? When they call you to bug you.
Yeah, so if the same people are going to outlaw cold calling and telemarketing, the politicians.
Yeah.
Well, they're the worst.
Yeah. Bingo.
I mean, and by the way, they know who you're voting for. Like, they knew who I was voting for. And so I got hit nonstop. I didn't vote for Kamala. I voted for Trump. And I got nonstop calls from Trump. I mean, it was 4 or 5 a day. And probably a text message or 2 a day.
Which is funny. You're like,
and you can't stop them.
Bro, I already voted for you. Like, you can chill out now.
Dude, and you can't stop them. And
chill out.
So you reply stop. They still don't stop.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
And so that's what they are trying to ban now, which I think we can all get behind that, right? Like, I don't think anyone particularly loves that sort of thing,
Yeah.
So that's really what they're trying to ban now, and that very well, it hasn't happened yet. That's supposed to come up here at the end of the year, so that might happen in January. But
I was thinking, man, how the hell can this government fight a war in some other country if they can't stop telemarketers? And then a buddy of mine was like, no, it's not that. It's just that there's a law that says that people can use the phone to contact people for business.
Well, super common question that I get is which makes sense in theory, which is that, hey, Peter, why on earth would I hire humans when when AI exists now? Right? Super common question. Let me answer it. Glad you asked, right? So, super common question. And here's, thankfully the FCC has banned that too, and for very good reason. And a business owner should be thankful that they did, because if they would have allowed AI cold calling specifically, that's what they've banned. They have banned AI cold calling. AI can call everything else, but not cold call. So if you've got proof of consent, if someone has opted in, AI can call them all day long. That's fine, which I agree. But it cannot be used to make cold calls. Why? Because then it would be completely unchecked, right? Mm-hmm. Because then you don't need humans anymore, right? It's just someone sitting on a laptop hitting the go button, and you can just unleash rain of hell across the entire country's phone systems and just debilitate our phone towers. I always say, there would be smoke coming off of cell phone towers.
Thank God they stopped that. That'd be a mess.
There'd be flames coming out of your cell phone now, because it would just be ringing off the hook nonstop, because any teenager in Pakistan could just hit the go button. And
so bottom line is, if you want to call and you want to prospect, you can, but you got to be a human.
Got to be a human.
Yeah.
Because that you can't abuse, at least, right?
Sure.
There's a limited number of humans, and you can't.
Yeah, if you want it, you got to work for it. I can get behind that. You have to work for it.
Yeah,
I can get behind that.
And so it's a good thing, right? It's protected that form of marketing. What does it cost me to get one signed deal, whatever it is that you do? How much does it cost me to acquire a fully signed, closed deal, right? And that number varies across industries, but in roofing, it could be, depending on where you are in the country, depending on a lot of variables, of course, but it could be anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500, sometimes even higher, on average, for paid marketing, right? If you're door knocking, I get it. That's different. It's much less, obviously. But if you're doing paid marketing, if you're doing Google PPC, Jesus, it could be $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, for one signed deal.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, pay-per-click has gotten out of control.
Yeah, of course.
The last year and a half, Google won't say this, but their algorithms have not been working. Everybody's been spending more for the last year and a half than what they've been getting in return. And Google won't say this, but they've screwed up, and they're giving people solutions on how to fix it. But I literally shut off all my pay-per-click ads because we were just losing money.
I'm not surprised. So what I'm finding, like I said, is the average roofing company is spending $1,000, $1,500, somewhere in that, depending on where you are in the country, but somewhere in that general ballpark to get a deal. That's their CPA. I'm able to show them, dude, we can do it for you for under $400. I can show you how to get a roofing deal.
To get an actual customer, you can get an actual signed customer for under $400.
Under $400.
Yeah, well, anybody should do it then. It
That's
takes
my
me
point.
probably $1,500 to acquire a customer.
I'm not surprised. Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, now I get it back immediately because I charge them $1,800 up front, so I get it back. But it's a lot of money. I mean, if I wanted to get 10 customers, I mean, I'm going to spend $15,000 or more.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so I think once I'm able to show people that, I usually just call that like my mic drop moment, that I literally do, like drop my pen and I'm like, here's your mic drop moment, right? If you've listened to nothing else that I've said, this should be the one thing you pay attention to. It's what is my CPA? And sadly, you'd be amazed how many people I talk to that don't know what their CPA is. Because I always start by saying, hey, before I do the mic drop moment, what is your CPA right now? And I'm not trying to put him on the spot. I'm not trying to make him feel bad, because a lot of companies really don't know what their CPA is, and that's okay. But like I said, a lot of companies don't know. And so when I show them, they do know. They're like, okay, well, I know it's higher than that. I know whatever it is for me,
there's
way higher than that.
There's 33 million companies in the U.S., and I'm here to tell you from empirical evidence, from me doing what I do for as long as I've been doing it, talking to as many business owners as I've talked to, 97, and I don't mean 96, I don't mean 98, 97% of business owners do not know how to run a business. We've got it down to the 97%. We've tracked it over the years of what we do. We look at tax returns every single month. Every day we look at tax returns. And literally we can only help out 2 to 3% of business owners because they don't know how to run a business. So their books are sloppy.
They're not sellable.
They're not sellable. If you were to ask them, like you said, most people don't know their cost for client acquisition. If you were to ask somebody what it is, it's real simple math. How much money did you spend on marketing, and how many clients did you get?
Yeah,
it's a simple division.
Yeah.
But they don't know because they're not paying attention to things like that. So like I said, 33 million business owners out there, 3% of them really know how to run a business. And so people like you, people like me that are helping business owners build their business, teaching them, showing them solutions. You're showing them marketing solutions. I'm showing them how to run their business a certain way to where they can ultimately sell their company, or I'm showing them how to acquire businesses that they already are in. So I'm showing roofing companies and plumbing companies and HVAC companies how to acquire the competition, because that's easier to grow your business that way than it is by one more van and one more tech.